Welcome back to Light Talk, where the paranormal and the supernatural is a part of our everyday life. We have a returning guest once again. I am welcoming Michael Kopf. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. And go ahead, take over, Michael.
Well, thank you. And it's great to be back. And I'm just curious, what are you feeling like talking about today?
Well, I think we were going to continue talking about your book, your first book, if my picture holds up, and my
Yeah,
ET in the back.
with the
Did you see
virtual
my ET?
background, you got to keep everything in front of your face, otherwise it
Yeah.
disappears.
Yeah, if you see my ET, I got an ET. Where is he?
Yeah, you had him
Did you
last
see?
time. It was very
Did you?
cool.
Yeah, he hides behind me here.
He made his appearance with the book.
Yeah, pops in and out. Yeah, so we were going to talk some more about that, and so how about we start with the Myrtle Plantation? You're going.
Ooh, that was a fun one. So Myrtle's plantation, when I we got there, we checked in and we were walking around and we thought meal was included and everything and found out no. So we had to go grab a bite to eat, but we ended up taking a tour of the building and there was a couple of things that they said that kind of made me wonder if is accurate or just legend. And one of them was they had fleur-de-lis all over the glass of the doors on the front and back. And they said the owners did that. Sorry, the original owners, because they knew about spirits and they said the fleur-de-lis will keep spirits out. But if the spirit has already entered when you enter, it's stuck inside. And so I was like, I had never heard of the fleur de lis having that ability. And so that kind of got me curious. And I was like, I wonder if that's accurate or if it's more, it works because everybody believed it worked. And so intention overrode and turned it into something that it wasn't. So that was interesting. And then there was this mirror that was made of mercury glass. And there was a story about how a handprint appeared in it, and something happened to where the mirror broke, or there was some kind of story around the mirror had to be replaced. And the interesting thing that they all said is because you could see the handprint in the mercury glass, they said this is not the original mirror, but the handprint is in the exact same place and it appeared after it was put in. And so I was like, that's interesting because one, mercury glass is really hard to leave a handprint on. And two, how would it be in the exact same place? And
Right.
so we were all like geared up and going, this will be interesting. And so we ended up staying there. And so it's divided amongst two doors to enter. One door is one side of the plantation home, and the other door is the other side. There's a common wall they put in between both. And
Okay.
so we were like, okay, so you access the upstairs sleeping area rooms on one through one door is, let me see, there was four rooms on that side. And so we were like, cool. So we go and we have assigned our rooms by drawing a lot of keys. And I get into my room, and I believe it was the Winter's room. And I go in there, And I look at the shower and I start laughing because so here is the bathroom. Like you picture normal. Well, the shower is here with the roof like this. So I had to bend over to fit in the shower or sit and take a shower. I could not stand straight up to take a shower in this shower. And I was like looking at this and going, this is not going to work in the morning. I am not going to be awake enough to want to lean over to stand so I'm not sitting in the water, or am I even going to be comfortable enough to sit in this to do anything? So I was like, I'm just going to get up and go. Okay, no worries. And my room had an adjoining door to another room. And I'm spelling this all out to paint a picture. And so then there's this common walk area, and then there's two rooms that have two doors, and their bathroom for the three rooms is there. I was the only room that had my own bathroom, which I got lucky with.
Yeah.
So we start investigating at night, and we're on our side where the rooms are, and we're talking to spirits, and equipment's going off, and we hear this loud slam, and this the guy in the room next to me looks at me, and I was like, that came from our rooms, didn't it? He goes, yeah. And so we're like, we're the only people that can be up there because you need a key to enter this area of the house.
Okay.
And so we're like, what is going on up here? Where did that come from? And we go outside into the common area. All the doors are closed. So we're like, this is really strange. Well, we come to find out it was his closet door had opened and slammed shut,
Oh,
but nobody
really?
was in there.
And
And
go
uh,
ahead.
and if that wasn't crazy enough, for probably 2 or 3 hours, I was so tired I just fell asleep after the investigation. He told me the next morning, he goes, did you hear the talking? I said, no, but I could hear the like energy flowing between the doors. And so I just was too tired and just went to sleep. He's like, you're lucky. They were talking. And so he listened to this conversation all night. And I was like, ooh, that's not fun.
No.
And so, yeah, we were finding it's really interesting that all this was going on. And I yeah, that was one location I'd love to go back to, Dana, and sit there and investigate again because we were getting activity outside on the grounds and activity in the house, and so it was quite interesting.
So did your partner there have any um information that was given during everybody talking that night?
We don't know about the door and what the conversation argument was about because it was an argument. He told me they were yelling at each other, but we were getting answers to questions like, "Oh, did you have this happen?" or did you die here?" or what, the normal questions. And so we we were getting intelligent responses, but I don't know that I would remember because we were there, I think, in March. And so I can't quite remember what conversation or what came across devices, but yeah, we were getting interesting responses to questions. and then it would go quiet, and then other equipment would start to go off, and then it just kind of just stopped everything. And we're like, okay, maybe this is time to go to bed. They're going to
Yeah.
bed. Let's go to bed.
Yeah. Get some sleep with the so with the mirror, going back to the mirror, I get faces in my mirror. So after a shower, I take hot showers. So my mirror gets all like foggied up. And every once in a while, I'll get out of the shower and there's a face in my mirror in the fog or the steam of it. I get that periodically. What are your thoughts?
Well, so it could be two things. One is loved ones checking in on you and letting you know that they're there, and, obviously not being, obtrusive and making noises or like trying to scare you.
Uh-huh.
But, so in that grounds, I would say it's probably a family member or just somebody just letting you know, hey, I'm here, everything's okay. The other thing could be is some of the glass has little defects in it, and so when light hits it just right, it creates little images in it, and the mind kind of maps it into something. So there may not be a face in there, there could be a bevel, but your mind is looking at it, and the way these bevels lay out, it's like, oh, it's a face, and there's not really a face, and it's a trick of the light. But
I'll show you,
I,
I'll send you some pictures of it because I got pictures of them.
but yeah, I would say though, with it being activated only by steam, then that I would say is more likely just a spirit stopping by to say hello, because I don't see the light only affecting with steam. It should show up both ways then.
Yeah. It's only with the steam. So I
Yeah,
have to
so
clear the mirror every once in a while. I clear the mirror so, I don't repeat that same face, but I get different faces all over the mirror. It's in different spots.
yeah, then I would definitely say a spirit's having fun with you and just saying, hey, we're here. Or I'm here, now I'm over here, now I'm over here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There are playful spirits that, mean no harm, and they just enjoy having fun, and they're not like, unless you're getting a creepy feeling or you're getting a bad feeling when you see the face, I would say, yeah, it's not doing anything inappropriate.
I hope not.
Yeah, it's like, hey, everybody, we got a fans only page over here on the other side. Come check it out. No, I'm
No,
just
no.
kidding.
No, you're cool. Yeah, it's like when one of my grays came to visit me. I was in the shower also, and I felt them behind me, and I turned around to
Yeah,
look at that 3, 4 foot little
yeah.
gray.
The Greys are an interesting bunch. They are drones, in my opinion, that are just tasked to do something, and they do it, and they have no emotions. They just carry it out, and then they go back when they're done and report, and that's their life. They're just programmed.
Yeah, I'm still learning about them as, I've had them visit me several times and all. So, yeah, I'm still trying to kind of figure out what their point is with me. I sound sounds like I have a part of them within. So
Well,
I do have some in my genes.
there is talk now that the Greys are humanity from the future that bioengineered themselves and genetically engineered themselves to the point that they can't reproduce and messed up their DNA and their the species as a whole. And so they're coming back to try and change their future so they don't make the mistakes. They're trying to fix their mistakes by coming back into our time and preventing us from starting down that path. So that could be why you think that's connected to you, is it's you or somebody in your lineage in the future come back and they're like, hey, we need you to do this so I don't exist in the future like this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's possible. It's possible. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll have to send you some of those pictures that I have from the
yeah.
mirror. I mean, it's clean. I made sure they were clean, but so so it's cool. But
No worries. Let's just say being a paranormal investigator, I have friends that send me pictures of marks and they're like, please forgive where the mark is. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm not paying attention to where the mark is. I'm just focused on the mark. I have respect on that level, and I
uh,
don't ever share photos for that reason. Is
mhm.
I sometimes will have a picture, and I recently sent a picture to a friend that it looked like an implant or something on my arm. And I sent it to her in the morning, and she left me a voicemail and a text message, audio message, laughing. And she says, next time, forewarn me that that's your arm because it looked like a butt pic. And I was like, why would I send you a butt pic? And then I look at it, I'm like, oh, yeah, it kind of does. Oops. Like, because you try to make the image context wise so they can
Mhm.
see where the difference is. And it's like, you don't think about, oh, how is this going to come across to the person on the other end? You're like, I'm focused on this.
Yeah. I had some marks on me for a short bit. I thought I was getting ate up by mosquitoes. It was really itchy, and they were lined up. There's five of them lining up the side of my leg. And they started to feel like a rough scar. You know how that would feel? It
Oh,
was
yeah.
feeling like that. And it looked like ringworm. I was like, what is this? It went away. I still have a little bit of a mark on one of them, but I was like, it went away. But it was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, some friends of mine would probably say you had a implant put in and the body reacts because, I mean, when we have surgeries done, the skin puffs up and then it flattens itself back out when it's settled and healed from it and decides, yeah, we don't need to puff up anymore. So, yeah, it's possible. So if like ETs or star races, if whatever you want to call them, um, take you, and we're finding out the word take is not the right word because I don't, this is gonna sound so strange and so hard to believe, but the races that are coming and taking people at night to do experiments or help from them doing stuff. They have said, we are not taking you against your will. You have actually agreed to do this in advance. We have contracts with you to do this. And so It's like, okay, so before we were born, apparently we made contracts to be visited, to help these people or beings, however you want to view them. And so the abduction phenomenon is not an abduction. It's you carrying out your contract agreement. And so it's like, yeah, and sometimes these contracts we're finding are made without even being aware of knowing what we're agreeing to. It's like,
Oh,
and so that's where some experiences are different from other people's. It depends on which beings are activating the contracts, but yeah, it's becoming a very interesting phenomenon to follow along with and research because we're learning more and more in it, but yet we're still so far from understanding and to be able to say, yes, this is this. It's like
yeah.
sometimes you sit there at the end of the day and are like, I don't think we'll ever get to this point, but we
But we
will.
will,
But
and
it's
we
just,
are.
yeah, we're making a lot of headway, but it just doesn't feel like it. And so that's the funny thing about it is they're like, yeah, we're getting a lot of disclosure about stuff, and people don't realize that they're getting information
Mhm.
about things that they didn't know before. And it's like, yeah, it's just interesting times we're in.
Yeah, I have recently heard about that, the changing of the wording instead of abduction, it's your contract,
Yeah,
it's changing. Yeah.
which we need to because, I mean, it's one thing to go and say, well, UFO is a bad connotation to it now, so we're going to call it UAP. It's like, it's the same thing. It's like, whatever. I'm still going to call it a UFO because that's
That's
what it
me.
is.
That's me.
And so, I mean, we sit there and we try and we talk and we're like, well, we got to make it so it doesn't sound so fearful or so bad. And it's like, just call it what it is. You changing the verbiage and you doing this and that is what's making all of this extra drama around it. Because it's
Yeah.
like, people are like, UFO. Okay, it's a normal everyday term now. But now
Mhm.
it's, oh, wait, we can't call it UFO. We have to call it UAP. It's like, that
Well,
creates drama in itself and defeats the purpose.
right. If they would just allow it to be what it is and not give it that negative look to it, then we would be fine.
Yeah, it's unfortunately the way we get our information. If you go through media, media is biased and they're into fear control. And they tell you, if you listen to them, that they don't tell the truth anymore. They tell all the stories sensationalized to get ratings. So we don't actually get viable news through mainstream media anymore. And an example I can share with you was when we were in Persian Gulf. I was at the airport and these soldiers were going to Iraq. And they're over there sitting at the carousel, laughing, cutting up. And I went over to them and I said, thank you for your service. And they go, well, thank you. We appreciate that. And I go, can I ask you a question? And they said, sure. I said, how are you so happy going to Iraq and the Persian Gulf where you're getting bombed daily? And they looked at me and he goes, I'm going to tell you something right now. We get one IED a month, if that. We don't know what your news media here is telling you, but it is far from the truth. We are spending more time with schools and homes helping people rebuild. And I was like, that's it. I'm not watching the news anymore. That was my kill switch to the news media viewing because I was like, if they're lying about what the situation our troops are in, you know they're lying more about what's here. So I don't trust them, so I ain't watching them.
Yeah, I haven't watched the news. I don't think I've ever really watched the news. I don't remember ever sitting down and saying, "Oh, I have to watch the news." You know, the news is on, got to watch it. I don't think I've ever done that. If it's
Yeah,
on, my husband will watch it for the weather, but I don't watch it. I will go in another room or something. I just don't watch it. Never
yeah.
have.
And in the old days, when news was first being reported, there would be a blend of bad news with good news. So it's like you had hope. Now it's everything is just bad. It's like hope
Mm,
is gone, according to the media. And you look at the world today and it's like you kind of wonder, when they go, I don't know why the world's like this. I'm like, "Well, look at the news media. Look at the people who are calling all the shots. You
yeah.
gotta, the writing's on the wall. You're falling for their script. You're supporting it by watching this, so it's your fault. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but it
And
is.
also, yeah, and also look at all the movies that are out there. It's all violence. I mean, it's like let's go. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all violence, and the language in it is just all crazy. And I don't know. Maybe language isn't a big thing to most people, but I'm not fully into it. I know I'll go through times where I'm like a sailor, but
Everybody loves it when the sailors come out.
yeah, it's in everything you watch. So I don't watch anything. I can't
Well,
even watch
and
commercials when we're watching anything on TV. What little I do, but
even look at paranormal movies. I mean, at first, like, you had The Sixth Sense, which was, interesting because, there was no real violence in it, but it was a paranormal movie. And people were like, it's okay, it's good. But then you say, well, what's your favorite paranormal? They're like, oh, well, Paranormal Activity. And I'm like, that is fake as all get out. That is not real. And they're like, and you're like, why do you like that? Oh, well, the thought of, being pulled out of bed like that, or the scratching that you're gonna get, and all that. And I'm like, none of that really happens. Like, that is the most rare instance. And it's so sensationalized that it's like you look at other movies now and they all have to have that in
violence.
some way. And it's
Mhm.
like, that's not what we're doing. We're not these. Okay, I mean, even Supernatural, I'm sorry, the TV show, nobody drives around with their car with guns, rock salt, bullets, and all these different things in their trunk on the off chance they're going to run across something. It
Yeah.
is so remote that you would need that type of gear, but everybody's first question because of these TV shows and movies is, have you come across a demon? How many demons have you faced? I'm like, none. They're not out there, in my opinion. They got other things to do than sit there and be like, oh, we're gonna go hang out at this jail because so and so's coming over and we gotta be there because they know we're there. It's
Do
like,
you do you think it's all within how the person's aura is or where their energy level is? of what they get if they are seeing demon-like stuff versus not?
I think what it is, in my opinion, and remember, this is my opinion, so don't come at me because I'm not saying demons don't exist. Let me clarify that because they do exist, but just not as frequent as TV would make you believe. But my theory is when you go to a location and you have an angry spirit, it's going to manifest and its energy is going to be low and you're going to have bad feelings from it and you're going to feel the weight and pressure of it. And a lot of people will go, "Oh my God, there's a demon here." It's not a demon, it's just a spirit that has bad energy because they were a bad person in life. And a lot of people are saying, a lot of mediums are saying, if you were a bad person in life, you're going to be a bad person in the afterlife. And so you're going to show yourself as this bad person and energy will get misread. And I tell people you have to be careful because if you go to a location and you get a bad feeling and you're like, "Oh my God, somebody's here. Oh, there's a demon here." Well, the person is sitting there going, "I'm not a demon, but I wasn't Mr. Popular and I don't know why you're invading my house in the first place and calling me a demon," and is upset. And then another team comes in and says, "Oh yeah, there's a demon here. Oh yeah." He's sitting there going, "Why does everybody keep calling me a demon? This is my house. You're insulting me," getting angrier. And pretty soon, the next three or four groups come through and say, "Yeah, this demon is here." He goes, "You want a demon? I'll give you a demon." And they'll start
Yeah.
acting like one because that's what you're asking for. And they get
Yeah.
tired of being told and called something. It's just like the analogy I use is, kids being kids, we write it off as, but when you have a child that has a hard time learning, a kid, not meaning any harm by it, just being a kid, comes up and says, "Hey, this kid is stupid. He can't learn, he can't figure this out."
Hmm.
We all have to sit here and wait for him to learn it. Other kids start laughing and they go, "Yeah, you're stupid. Yeah, you're stupid." Well, what's the kid going to go home and do? He's going to go home and say, "Mom, I don't know why I can't learn this. I guess I'm just stupid." And
Yeah.
it could be he has dyslexia or another form of a disability that prevents, that just doesn't register that way. He doesn't learn that way. But kids will make you think you're stupid, and so you'll just give up.
Yeah.
And
And that's right. Yeah.
so that's where I'm like, we have to be careful throwing that term around because we don't know what's on the other side of the veil that's in these buildings. And so if you have gone up against a demon and you're around to tell the tale, kudos to you. But I really doubt every location you have been to has that. So if it does, I would seriously look at, like you're saying, what is your aura and what are you looking for? Because you're bringing it. It's not there. You're bringing it.
Yeah. And it's kind of like just respecting them as you would hopefully respect the people living, you
Yeah,
know, just respect.
and we have to, and I know I preach about this a lot on my shows, but I'm hoping it sinks in is as paranormal investigators, we have no idea what's on the other side that we're dealing with. It could be residual energy, could be an intellectual spirit that wants to communicate, could be another dimensional being that's come through a veil and is trying to figure out where they're at. There's a number of possibilities. But to keep calling out a demon of something that you don't understand and telling people, oh, you have a demon around you, needs to stop, because there are repercussions to that I don't think they realize, what they're doing to get their 15 seconds of fame, how hurtful they're being to the people or the location, because I mean, nobody wants a demon.
Mhm.
And I mean, demon, the word itself, a huge amount of fear gets, brought up with that, and hopelessness too. And so you are literally robbing life from these people. And I was talking with the Warren Legacy Foundation on an episode, and they told me about this case that fell through. And I was like, what do you mean it fell through? And they said, well, a lady noticed her son was feeling off and wanted them to come and check it out. And they said, well, we'll be a couple of days, maybe. And she goes, well, we have another team coming in to see, if there's a spirit or something attached to him. And they said, that's
Mhm.
fine. But we can help him. So, no worries. Well, this team comes in, does their investigation, and says, well, kid, you got like 70 demons attached to you, and there's nothing we can do about it. And walk out, leave. And the next day, the mother calls the foundation and says, I appreciate you guys' willingness to come, but you don't need to come now. And they go, no, ma'am. Well, seriously, we can help your son. We can totally get to the bottom of this and help you all out. And she goes, no, you don't understand. My son took his life because they said there was no hope and he had these demons attached to him. And that just gave me chills. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. And I don't wish ill will on anybody, but I wish that team, every time they go to open their mouth and say the word demon, remembers that case and what they did to that kid, because that kid would still be here today if it wasn't for them. And I don't know what team it was. I don't want to know what team it was, but that's the part that I'm talking about. There's accountability to what we say that you need to realize, because words have power, words have meaning. And if you're just flippantly throwing this term out there, one, yes, it's diluting it so people will have no fear of it because they're like, well, I had a demon in my house and I'm still here. It's gone.
Yeah,
So I don't have to worry about it until one really does show up
right.
and it doesn't go the way they think it's going to go.
Yeah,
And, so I don't mean to go down and like it'd be a downer right before Christmas. I just I feel like, we there needs to be more accountability in the paranormal field with these cases, and need to stop trying to identify what's coming through and saying this is what it is unless you have 100% certainty what it is.
yeah. And it's always good to remind people of the power that these entities can have on us. I mean, we have to be very careful because We don't have the energy and the power that they have, and don't want to mess with them.
Yeah, and
You don't
I
want to mess.
mean, there are entities that will attach themselves, and I will tell you the way you'll notice if you have an attachment as a paranormal investigator is if you have a happy-go-lucky personality and you start an investigation, and when you leave that investigation, you are like, I don't know where this term comes from, but it's what's coming into my head, the Debbie Downer.
Hmm.
Something's wrong. And I would hope to God the team that you're with or the people you're with are like, hey, we need to ground you and clear you because something's wrong because you are not yourself. Something has attached to you possibly, and we need to make sure you're okay. Because I think what happens is people get used to the people they're with, or they want to experiment, so they go with a new group and they don't know them, and stuff happens and they don't know the difference. And the person starts getting tired, sleeping more, they're drained, they're losing their will to do stuff. And it goes unnoticed so long that it's hard to get it off. And I know people who can remove entities no matter how long it's been attached, in any amount of time. It's all based on belief of the individual and the person has the attachment. But there's also the problem is that people need to realize is if you have an attachment and somebody comes in and actually does remove it, and you go to somewhere and you say, oh, yeah, when I went here, I got this attachment and this is what it did to me. You have just called that attachment back to you. So you need to now go get yourself cleared again.
Again.
We have to watch how we talk about things because the world works in energy rituals. And if you don't understand how the ritual space works, you really need to take and learn how it works before going on another investigation because the simple task of EVP work, you're opening portals, you're inviting stuff in, and you don't realize it. And you're leaving with these open portals everywhere you're going and doing this task. And that allows anything and everything in because you didn't know how to open it properly. You didn't close it. Not only that, but this is the one that kind of makes me laugh all the time. And I'm like, really? Is they will knowingly open something, but they don't check to see what's going on around and they close it. And what they brought in is still with them.
Still here.
They
Oh,
never sent him back, and now he has no way back. He has to go find a portal to go back, or sit there and wait for the next person to open the door. And so
mm,
you have now brought an entity into a location that's not supposed to be there, doesn't want to be there, and yeah, it's going to act out and it's going to create problems because it's anxious to get home.
right. Families looking for them and they're not there because they're disappeared, you
You,
know?
yeah, you made them stuck, so to speak, because they got to
Yeah,
find another portal to where they come from. And so, yeah, I mean, the paranormal field is becoming more interesting because we're entering a time where I've been talking with a lot of investigators, a lot of mediums, a lot of spiritual people. The veils are thinning, so it's easier for everything to be happening. So paranormal activity is ramping up. And, is it a sign of end times? No. And if you want, I can share with you a little history over what the end times really are.
Yeah.
So, when you read like Norse mythology, if you've heard of it, Ragnarok is the end times. The gods die, it's the end of civilization. That's what they tell you. When you actually read Ragnarok and the story, there are a male and a female who will enter a tree, and out of this tree spawns a whole new race. So, in essence, the gods are reborn and life renews and it starts over. So, Ragnarok is just the end of an era, beginning of a new era. It's not the end of life as we know it. The Bible, the story, the plague come, the horsemen come, signals the end, life ends, but life doesn't end. It's
Yeah.
renewed into a new age, a new world is born, and new life comes in. The Mayans, we ended an age cycle, an era cycle, and another one started. Astrology is even the same thing. The age of Pisces, we're at the end of it. We're entering the age of Aquarius. There's a little cusp period where both ages are active. So Pisces age doesn't die and everything disappear. No, it just you shift into the energy of Aquarius and life is different. That's what these end time stories are about is an end of way of one system, beginning of a new system. And so what I think happened is religions got a hold of the stories and said, our mission is to control people so that we can do this, this, and this, and we'll be this. Well, how do we get people to follow along? Well, let's take out the hopeful part of these stories, meaning the end time stories, and just tell them it's the end of everything. So now people are afraid of end times because they're like, oh my God, I don't want to die because time ends. There's nothing. That's what the church tells us. That's what all these books tell us. And it's like, no, they really don't.
No.
That's what they're telling you, it says, but it's not what it actually says. And so they use it to control, and that's the age. I'm so thankful to say that the spiritual warfare and everything that's been going on, the disclosure movements included in this, is all based around we are waking people up to the fact that this fear-based world is not the world we're supposed to be in. It's coming crashing to an end in a world of hope and light and abundance and everything is coming in,
Yeah.
but it can't take hold until people are ready to let go of the other way. And I know it's hard to let go of fear. I've
Yeah.
had to do it. It can be done. It can be done easy or hard. And so, you just have to decide one day to wake up and go, I'm not going to buy into the fear script today and this aspect, and then it takes hold, and then you can go to another aspect and another aspect, and pretty soon you'll be able to live your life, free of the fear. And I just want to make clear, I'm not talking about like the fear of touching a hot stove. That is a natural, pure fear. That is designed to keep you safe. That is a good fear. I'm talking about letting go of the fears of, oh my God, if I tell my boss I had this idea, I'm going to get fired, and I can't be fired because then I won't be able to afford my house and my family will be put on the street and we won't be able to eat and all, because all of this is based around a lie you told yourself because you bought into a program that never actually existed. You created it.
Yeah,
That's what's coming to an end.
yeah, yeah. And the trust. The fear is switching over to trusting in God, source, whatever. Um, it's the trust that we're
Yeah,
going. Yeah, that's what I think. It's the trust, because if you don't have the trust, then you have the fear, right? Is
yeah,
that how you
and
take it? Yeah.
it is. And one thing that a mantra that helps me, that may help your audience and help you, actually comes from a movie, that comes from a book series. It's Dune, the sci-fi movie. And the main premise is in order to unlock who you really are, you have to let go of the fear. And how they do it is they tell themselves fear is the mind killer. So it's like they're programming themselves to not be afraid of what they need to do in order to survive, in order to grow. They're telling themselves, if I give into this fear, mentally, I'm gonna kill and be killed because it's gonna take control.
Yes.
You're in turn taking control of the fear and telling it what it's gonna do. That's the difference. And so that's where I have a t-shirt now I finally found that says across the front, mind fear is the mind killer. And it says Dune on the back. And I'm
Oh,
like,
there you
I
go.
love that saying because it's so true
Mhm.
today in our world, even though it's a sci-fi movie and people will be like, yeah, okay, sci-fi, whatever. I'm like, yeah, it works. It's real. It's an actual mantra you can say that'll help you grow.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of those movies have a lot of truth to them. I mean, I keep looking back at like the Jetsons. I mean, that was made before we, okay, I'm pushing it, but I was going to say before we even had cars, but that was made a long time ago. And
Yeah.
who would have thought of that? So I really think a lot of movies and a lot of shows and everything have actually been came through as either something they experienced or channeled or some sort of help getting that picture through into a show or a movie.
Here's a paranormal thought for you. So, viewing paranormal as unexplained, that there, if you look at it in that aspect, there's a force that has been suppressing information that rightfully we have knowledge of, but it's been kept from us for some reason so they can have control. But if they have left us alone, we would be in the Back to the Future world right now because if you remember in 85, it was supposed to be flying cars at
Hmm.
this time.
Hmm.
The Jetsons with their flying vehicles, all of that would be reality today, except we were told we had to rely on oil and gas and combustion engines to move around, and we just blindly agree. So, my saying to you and your audience is looking at the paranormal field, if you were to stop believing everything you were told and believe because you've been told it since a kid, which is programming in reality, what would the world be like today? What would we make the world into if we no longer bought into everything that we've been told and just blindly accept? And that can be grass is green, the sky is blue. We're assuming these colors are that because that's what we're told.
That's what we're
We could
told.
have that completely wrong.
Yeah.
That could be why so many foods taste like chicken because we don't know what food actually tastes like anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, um, oh, what was I thinking? Yeah, you just got to be open enough to say, hey, yeah, this could be something different. This could be better than this. This
Yeah.
could be. I mean, if you think it could be and you think it is, then it is.
Here's something really wild. There have been stories of people who can walk through walls, literally walk through walls.
Hmm.
And when they ask him, how are you able to do that? He goes, because the wall's not solid. And you sit there and you go and you sit there and say, well, what do you mean the wall's not solid? Well, you have to sit there and realize I think a wall is solid because I was told as a kid this wall is solid.
Hmm.
That's another program. And it's, the desks. We say, oh, like our desktops are perfectly smooth. You ask a wood craftsman, and they say there is no such thing as a perfectly smooth wood surface. But because we're programmed to feel and think that's what smooth is, that's what we call it.
What we call it. Yeah,
That
I've been
this
watching this.
is what I mean by the world of letting go of all the stuff that we've been told is because there are so many things in our world that we're seeing that we don't believe because we're told they don't believe and don't exist. And if we stop that program, what is our world really going to look like?
Anything you want it to be.
Exactly.
Anything you want it to be. Everyone's going to have an absolute different viewpoint of the same focus, focus
And
point.
that's the way it should be.
But we have
We
to be
should.
able to be okay with that. I mean, right now I see a lot of people saying, "Oh no, that's this," because you're looking at it differently. So we have to open up and allow everybody to have their own view of what life is.
Yeah. And I have a friend who was asking me the other day, he's like, "Hey, what are residual haunts? Because could that be another timeline coming in?" And I just kind of laughed and I said, and I was like, "You're waking me up with this question. All right, you asked for it." And I responded back and I said, "Well, residual haunts could be a parallel timeline that's come and met with our reality, so we're able to see it. Could be a different timeline because there's multiple possible timelines running that you're seeing, or it could be another dimension, even. And I said, this is what's going on with the paranormal field now, in my opinion, is we have to relook at what we're seeing and going, are we seeing residual, or are we seeing another dimension, or a parallel world, or parallel timeline, or all these other options, and legitimately sit there and say, if it could be any one of these, okay. And if we start looking at that, how is our worldview going to be so expanded?
Yeah. And you also throw in there that we're all living the same lifetime, even though you have a past life and a future life, it's all one. You're living all of that right now.
Right.
It's just it's mind blowing. A lot of this is, but it's so interesting and it so makes sense once your head can wrap around it. It does make some sense.
There's a lot of things in our world that it's like we're like, I don't understand how this is possible. And then when you start viewing the world through different lenses, you're like, oh, well, that explains this. And well, now I understand what they mean by this. And now this concept doesn't seem so hard to understand. And well, now, wait a minute. What about when I looked at this scenario? And that's when you know your mind is really starting to kick in, is when you start to look at everything you've experienced in your life through that new filter lens. And you're
Mm.
like, wait a minute. And you go, everything that's happened to me has been stepping stones to where I am today. And you start looking at everything differently. That's when you're really starting to open up and understand the world around you.
Well said. Well said. Yeah.
Well, this was definitely a different episode than we probably thought.
Hey, I love it. I love how we just go where it goes. And yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's about that time though. But yeah, thank you so much for being back on again. And oh my goodness. And we just started up a whole nother ball game of talk here. So
I know. And I have a feeling I'll be writing a book about it.
do it. Do it. Go for it.
It would be an interesting book of,
Yeah.
proposing. I'm actually even going to write that down. You never know when inspiration's going to strike.
Nope.
But thank you for having me on, and thank you for the buying the book and reading it. I am so grateful. I honestly, when I wrote these books, never thought anybody would actually read it because I didn't feel like I was known or like it had a story that anybody would want to read, even though people told me they would read it. I'm like, yeah, people say that, doesn't always follow through. But I am truly grateful for everyone who buys one book. If you buy all four, hey, you're making my day even brighter, but you don't have to. I'm not putting that out there. Just enjoy the books that resonate to you. And yeah, I just thank you all so much for your support and willingness to read the books and buy the books to open your mind maybe to a new way of thinking. And if it doesn't, hey, at least you have a nice book in your collection.
Right. No, I have so many books that I want to be getting, and I'm already behind on reading some of my books, but yeah, I have a list of books that I want to get, and it's mainly from my guests that are authors, and I hope everybody is able to get at least one of these books
If I
my
will
guests
say, if
because
I can take a moment, I noticed the other day because I honestly I haven't read my books yet in print form, but I was shown that book two, the pictures didn't come through in the print for some reason. They
oh,
were in book three and four. And so when I asked them about it, they really didn't have a really clear answer as to
mm,
why the format wasn't picking up the photos. So I redid the book to in PDF form. So my hope is the photos are there. And so Selena and I did a lot of work on these illustrations. So I'm hopeful they're in the book. So if you buy book two, if you could kindly let me know if the illustrations are in the book, because I could, float numbers and buy a copy for myself, but I already have two copies of each, the paperback and the hard copy by mistake, and I don't need a third, but I am very curious if that fixed that and that the images are there. So if anybody listening to this wants to read the Hidden Discoveries book, and you do, if you could let Dana know, who will let me know, or if you find me direct, let me know if that worked. But I have done all that I can think to do to remedy that issue and make the illustrations present.
right. Well, we'll help you out. We'll help you with your those pictures and everything. And I'm sure my guests are going to go out and grab some of these books and read them. And yeah, they're very interesting. They're very entertaining. They're very um, wonderful to hear his experiences in these books, at least the one that I have so far. So far.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, check it out. See what it's all about. It's
yeah.
really, really interesting stuff.
There's four books in the Awakening series, and originally I had planned to take and just add to these books version two with new information coming, but I think I'm gonna maybe turn around and just write them as a separate book. And I don't know if I'll do another series or just individual books. So follow along and you'll find out as I find out.
I know I will follow you around. I will be with you.
I appreciate it.
Yes, you've done a lot for me, and I completely appreciate it myself. So thank you for everything you've done for me. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
Hmm. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and end this, but thank you again for being on the show again. I love it and I appreciate it so much. And
Yes, and Merry Christmas to you and your audience. Happy Kwanzaa, if that's what you study, celebrate. Happy Hanukkah, if that's what you celebrate.
yeah, so yeah, have a great one and all the New Year stuff and all of this is going to be so much fun.
Yes, and if you want to see me back even again, shamelessly plug me and annoy Dana to enough that she will message me and say, "Hey, do you want to come on again?"
Michael, you're welcome to come back anytime you want.
I appreciate it.
Anytime you want, you are more than welcome to come back. So I appreciate that.
Well, I
All
will
right.
be back then.
Okay. All right. If anyone out there has any stories you would like to share, email me at lighttalk423@gmail.com and we'll get connected. And we will see everybody next time. Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.